Hi class, welcome to week 6. Happy snow day with all the snow that you guys are getting with various amounts through the area. So this week's assignments are to read through 8 different articles. All of those articles relate to finding a job, exploring your career, what are you looking for, what are HR individuals working for. So it's really a continuation of Get That Job. It's also helping to set you up for your resumes, mock interviews, mock phone interviews that you guys are going to be participating in the coming month here. So these are just all part of the process as we're exploring that professional profile, how you're going to look at your personal branding. We're just going through those steps right now. So several short articles to read this week. You will use those for your assignments. You need to continue to work on your Suits for Success. We do not have class next week. 4 of us are going, actually 5 if you can count myself, are going up to Madison to showcase Suits for Success at the student showcase that's happening up there for the WTCS system. So we will not have class next week. You guys can still meet, work on this project. When we do get back together, it's going to be the week before the event. So you guys have a lot of work to do in the next 2 weeks without actually having class, thanks to our snow day. So keep working on those things, ask questions. I'm going to be sending out video reminders, email messages, contacting different teams, just to see where you guys are sitting and what's happening. We have a lot to get done and not a lot of time to do it. Also, all the hours or the needs that all the teams posted that they needed last week have been added to You Get Connected, so you can go out there and respond to the different needs for the service learning project. That's going to be your way of tracking hours. So you're going to respond to the need. Once you've completed that need, you'll respond, or you'll walk through that process, put in your hours and what you completed during that time. So there are a couple miscellaneous ones. So if you've been working on marketing related activities, donation related activities, those little things outside of class time, you can use those to track your hours. All of your hours do need to be in that portal. They're going to be approved. If they're not approved, they don't count towards your final grade for it. So make sure that you are adding those in there. If you question your hours, let me know. Be realistic with your hours. It doesn't take 2 hours to pick up donations when you're just going to 1 or 2 banks. So take that into consideration as well. Other things this week that you guys are doing. There is a resume handbook that the Career Services has put together, and there is an assignment down here after all of these articles that you guys are going to go through, read through the resume handbook. You probably have already looked through this. It just was redone this last year, so it's got some updates. But you're going to need to go through that and answer these 5 questions. Make sure you're answering each question in a full paragraph, fully explaining yourself. So I'm seeing some of you are very short to the point, but you're not actually demonstrating that you have knowledge or understanding of what you're saying in your papers. So you need to do what I call as the P method of writing, where the first line is your topic sentence or you're making your point. Then give examples and explain. So those are your 2 E's. Make your point, explain, and give examples. If you're not doing that in your writing, you're not demonstrating that at this level in your education that you fully understand those competencies and you're competent in those areas. If you're not competent in demonstrating those skills, I can't award points, and you don't want that to happen right now. So make sure you're fully explaining yourself. This is going to be about a paragraph for each one of those questions, not 5 paragraphs for each question either. So make sure that you are explaining yourself, giving actual examples, besides just writing your 1 point for your sentence. It's not going to cut it in this class or capstone. Other assignments. There is the job search assignment here. So last week you provided 3 websites on researching different organizations and job postings. So you're going to further your job search research on that. You're going to really look in depth at one of the 3 that would benefit you in applying and interviewing for that position. Prepare a report highlighting your 10 unique or novel pieces of background information that you'd be able to use to demonstrate your knowledge of the firm and the industry. It is critical as you guys are preparing to do an interview that you go in prepared. You don't just show up at an interview and talk about yourself. You want to have some background information on that company and demonstrate that you know what that company is about, what their mission statement is. You want to ask questions to make sure that not only you're a great candidate for the position, but that company's a great fit for you. You want to make sure that your values align with that firm and that industry. So you're going to do that research and highlight what are your top 10 questions that you could ask that company. You'll actually need to do this when you do your phone interview and your mock interviews. Have some questions prepared related to the position that you're applying for. When we get to those mock interviews, there'll actually be 3 of them, 3 positions that you'll get to apply for, and then you'll have to research those 3 companies. I don't know which companies they'll be right now. I usually take actual postings off of Tech Connect, so we'll see what comes up between now and then. The other thing that your team needs to do this week is one person from your team needs to submit it, but you all need to work together to prepare it, is make a progress report as to where your team is sitting, what you have completed, what you guys still need to work on for the event, and any documentation that you have that goes along with that. So if your day of event, for example, you guys are going to have a floor map or plan of where employees that you guys are going to have are going to be located. The other thing that like check-in, check-out people are going to need to do, or day of event people are going to do, is they need to do some training. They need to teach some customer service skills and some retail skills to the rest of the class or the volunteers that are going to be helping out the day of the event. So what type of training are you guys doing? That needs to be ready to go for the next class period that we get together. Anyone else that has training, so inventory, if you guys have training that needs to be done. Setup, there might be things related to hanging or folding clothing on how you can do that in a more efficient manner. Sorting, you guys might have some training related things related to that. So you need to get those training materials ready so that when we meet in our next class period, you guys can conduct that training right before we actually host this event. Because again, the next time we meet is the day or the week before we actually have this event. So training will be done that day. In the event that that's a snow day too, we'll have to do some video training, which will be interesting. Operational plans need to be put together. How are we going to set up and take down the event? What is the plan? What are you going to have people doing? Where are items going to be going? What does the floor layout look like? Has anybody walked through the Lunda Center? Do we need to make changes to last year's plan? All of these things need to be considered. Inventory documentation. How are we tracking our inventory? Do we know where we're sitting currently for inventory? What are volunteers going to do beforehand? We need check-in, check-out forms, floor layout. Takedown. Takedown has to occur within an hour of the event ending. So we need to be out of the Lunda Center by 6:30. However, all of the thrift stores are not open after the event. So what is the plan for putting those items somewhere, preferably loading them into vehicles and getting them to a location the next day? How are we going to pack everything up in an hour? What is the process? So you guys need to develop that. Other things we need to look at. What are our booths that we have? What is the layout for our booths? Do we need additional booths in that front area? I know a couple of you have reached out to the marketing team or the marketing students, so you know what booths they have. We also have the LaSherm group on board. They're going to be doing our resume reviews. So are there others that we need? We need to look at that. One thing with our service learning project that you guys need to be aware of is we can give receipts now. All we need is the name of the donor. Then we need to also include their email address or an address where they want the receipt mailed to, and then they need to claim whatever value they think the items are worth. So you need those 3 pieces of information. We need to have a spreadsheet or something created for that so we can track all that information, and then I will send it on to our foundation office and they will issue receipts after our event. So that's an item that we need to have continuously going. So donation team, you guys need to work on that. Trying to think what else you guys have to do for this event yet. Marketing, how are you guys marketing this event? How are you reaching out to students? How are we going to get students in for this event? What is the process for picking things up? I saw a couple emails come through. Somebody was looking for plastic bins. We haven't used plastic bins in the past, so we're going to have to see if anybody has any that we could just borrow for the time being, if that's what the location is requiring. So reach out to your classmates and see if they have any totes that we could use. I have one huge one in my office, but it is huge with some hangers. Do we have rolling racks for the day of the event? These are all things you guys need to consider and think of. Johnny, sorry, Johnny, I'm calling you out. Trent and Tyler have been sending out email communications with quite a few things that need to be done as well. So make sure you're checking those emails and responding to those. I'm going to put a Flipgrid together for next week where you guys can communicate with one another as well, as far as what your progress is and what things need to be worked on. So yeah, that's where we're kind of sitting for the service learning project. We're kind of in a limbo without class, but you guys have a lot of things you need to do outside of class to make this event happen. So stay tuned, I guess, and keep working on those things. If you guys have questions, reach out. Make sure you're communicating with the entire class or team on your projects. Make sure you're sharing with faculty the event, stopping it in classrooms, all of those sort of things.